Hey folks, it's Swankivy with another video for you. This is not part of the Letters to an Asexual series because I'm just going to ramble about something that I think a lot of asexual and aromantic people may need to hear on the day I'm uploading this, which is Valentine's Day. I've done this before. I've given you guys some encouragement on Valentine's Day because this day is hard for a lot of people if they're not involved with anyone, or maybe if they're having issues in a relationship that they are in. It's kind of a fraught day for a lot of people, and even though it should be about celebrating relationships, it has inadvertently become kind of a holiday about expectations or about feeling crappy about yourself because you'd like to be in a relationship and you're not. And when you are a non-normative sexuality or romantic orientation, that can sometimes hit you at least twice as hard, because some people have a lot of hopeless feelings that are compounded by the fact that we're rare and that our circumstances are more difficult to tolerate by a lot of so-called normative people. So what I want to talk about is, I have discussed before the difference between, say, sexual attraction and romantic attraction, and I have discussed aromanticism on my channel, but I want to get into it a little bit with the discussion of relationships. I'm going to tell you about my perspective here. I think a lot of what we heap onto our expectations with regard to relationships is artificial. I also feel like a lot of the divisions between friendship, best friends, and romance are artificial. I think it's really obvious that some people will feel very, very strongly about another person, but never say that they feel romantically about them, and that's completely legitimate. But I think also, especially those of us who don't have typical relationships, we've heard so much about romance, and we've heard so much from people who say, well, you'll know it when you feel it, and then you go through your life not feeling it, then you're expecting fireworks if it actually does happen, and maybe the relationship that you end up having is not romantic, and it's not fireworks, and it's not really obvious what's going on. You just don't have a word for it. You know that someone is important to you, but you're thinking, is this a romantic attraction? And if not, what is it? And how can I justify whether this can be considered my primary relationship, or do I even want that? I feel like there's just so much black and white going on with these terms that we feel like it's really important for us to figure out what we're feeling and what the word is for it. Those can be very helpful in figuring ourselves out and finding others who feel a similar way, but it's not absolutely necessary. You don't need to find a word for this other person in your life that you're not sure what the name is for how you feel about them. Maybe they're not your partner. Maybe the idea of a partner isn't very appealing to you, but you still feel crappy that you don't have one. Maybe you wish that you had a partner, but the people that are in your life are so close to you that you sometimes wonder what you should call it, or whether you have any business trying to even ask these questions. But what I think is really important to recognize is love is a wonderful thing. Love is great. I am a big fan of love, and I'm a big fan of supporting other people's love. But the kind of love that I feel for other people just doesn't feel romantic to me. It just doesn't strike me that way based on what so many other people have said they think it feels like, what it inspires in so many other people. There's just too many things that don't match up for me. to say that any of the feelings I have for my very close relationships are romance. I just don't feel the way that everybody else seems to feel, so I'm comfortable not calling it romance. But I have to think, if this was a different time, if I was in a different culture, would what I feel for these other people have struck me as romantic? Can you have a cooler romance, something that isn't always fireworks and thunder, but is pleasant and warm and makes you feel good, but just doesn't really measure up to the hype? I mean, I venture to say that some of the people that I've met, if I had fewer words in my life, I might have said, hey, that person is my partner. But, because I've been able to examine what's going on in my life and really compare and contrast what my feelings are like compared to kind of what other people describe, I've come to the conclusion that I'm not comfortable calling it that, and especially because I don't seem to want the things that usually go hand in hand with romance. So, you can call it whatever you want to call it, but it doesn't mean that it has to be less special than somebody else's romantic relationship. And also, if you just don't form those kinds of partnerships at all, you don't have to feel like you must be a broken person, or that if you just don't have really those kinds of bonds with other people, that it just means that you need therapy, or that something is very wrong with who you are or how you want to be. You don't have to feel the way other people feel. You don't have to feel the feelings that other people feel to the extent that they do to be a functioning person and to be okay. And you can really enjoy and support other people's love lives. You can enjoy the idea of love. You can do all of these things, just be a person, without being a person who engages in that kind of romantic relationship or experiences that sort of attraction. You don't absolutely have to find a word for how you feel. It can always be helpful to discuss, hey, maybe this term that I've heard that's very obscure is a good way of expressing how I feel about other people. But people act like it's just so important to decide, is this a friendship? Is this a partnership? Is this a sexual relationship? Is this a marriage? And when it really comes down to it, those words can restrict as much as they can help express. When you come at it from the other side and you're feeling bound by terms that just don't really make you comfortable, you feel like maybe you want some aspects of, say, a romance, but other aspects of it are weirding you out, and you're afraid that if you say you want these things, then the other person is going to feel disappointed that you don't want these things. You don't have to have a word for it. You can just feel how you feel, and you don't have to be too hung up on, what is this? What am I feeling? What's the name of it? And what does it mean for my future? So, my message to people who are struggling with this on Valentine's Day and any other time is, relax. It's okay if you don't express your love in ways that other people recognize as important, and with some communication and with some warmth and some listening and some empathy and some patience, you can find people who understand you and understand what you mean when you say love. And you don't have to feel like you're being left out of a necessary human experience because you're having yours. And it doesn't have to be the same as everyone else's to be vital and be valid and be important. So, thanks for watching, everybody. I love you. Bye.